my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel where I like to make videos about books as well as homeschooling, mostly book related. And before I jump into this video, again, I want to just say I hope everybody's doing well with any version of lockdown or shelters in place. I wish you the best. And I hope that this video can kind of lighten the mood, and it's a really fun tag. And so let me get into it. This video is the Finish the Book tag, and I was tagged over by Angela at Literature Science Alliance, and she is probably one of my favorite booktube channels. She started about the same time as I did, and she just has a really sweet, bubbly personality, and really she recommends a lot of different books that aren't always the genre I tend to read. She really likes fantasy, high fantasy, but she kind of has also a bigger range of books she likes. I really enjoy the content she puts out, so I highly recommend you check her out. I'll obviously put her stuff below. Please check her out. She's fantastic. Like I said, it's called the Finish the Book tag, so it talks about kind of what do you do when you finish a book, and it's just a really fun one. So the first prompt is, do you keep a list of books that you have read? For me, not really. I have recently found GOODREADS. It's always been something that I knew about. I knew about GOODREADS, but I didn't understand what it really was. And once I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love something like this. And I do. I've been tracking my books on GOODREADS, and prior to that, I have not. And honestly, I really wish I would have, because even now I'm like, what is the name of that book? Anyway, GOODREADS is what I do now. Second question is, if you record stats, what stats do you record? So I don't really record stats. Again, it's one of those things that I'm intrigued by. I'm not always the best at recording stuff like that. I like the end product of recording stats. Like, I love to look at the kind of the trends and things like that. It's the process of recording all of that information that it just never is a priority for me. Though I am up for recommendations, because I think it would be very fun and interesting if it was very easy. So if anybody has like a recording system or a spreadsheet or something they use that you want to recommend to me, please put it below, because it is something that I am curious about, but I don't do anything at this point. And the third prompt is, do you give star ratings? And if so, how does it work? And yes, I do star ratings. It took me a while to kind of figure out how to give star ratings. So really for me, and I think most people, star ratings come out of how much did I enjoy the book. I'm not critiquing it. I'm not an English major. I don't have kind of those skills. A 3-star read is something I liked. I didn't love. I thought there was either huge plot holes, the characters were kind of meh or something like that, but it wasn't terrible. It was still a good book, or it was a book that I recognized as good, just not my style. I feel like I would give 2s and 1s if it's just terrible. If it's more on the lines of like poorly written, didn't make any sense, then I feel like I would give it a 2 or a 1. I actually haven't given any 2 or 1s since I started this channel. But I think that's just because I'm still riding high on the I just started. There's so many recommendations of books that I missed over the last 2 years since my twins have been little. I think I'm doing a lot of catch up. I'm like, oh, that came out in 2012, but it's still awesome and I still get to read it. So that's like 3 and below. When you talk more 4s, 4s are books I loved. I thought they were really good, and usually there's just something lacking. Either I didn't totally like the end, I didn't totally like the characters, or maybe there was a little bit of plot holes, or maybe it was a little bit predictable. Things like that put it more in a 4, but I still love the story. And then 5s are just amazing. Stories that just have stuck with me and that I can't stop talking about or can't stop thinking about, or they'll pop in my head. All of those are just my 5 stars. And I feel like I've had a number of those lately. So good examples of 5 stars for me has been The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, Homegoing by Yagasi. The one I just finished was As Bright as Heaven. Oh man, it was so good. Susan Meisner, I think, wrote it. Oh, it was so good. It's about the Spanish flu, and I thought I was not going to pick it up right now, but I just couldn't help myself. It was the only book that would hold my attention, and it did. But it was also just really good. The family was just amazing. The characters were amazing. You just really got invested in them. So those are kind of some examples of 5-star reads where I'm like, oh wait, this video isn't even about that book, but I want to tell you all about it because it's so good type books. So that's how I rate them. Number 5, or prompt number 5, is where do you put your finished books? I put my finished books in the disorganized pile of all my books. I don't really have a like finished to be read sort of sections. We are thinking of getting some built-in bookshelves, maybe back here and on the other side of the window where these pictures are, and that would just be amazing. And then I could actually organize my books. But for the most part, they're just kind of upstairs in our bedroom, double stacked, and it's a bit of a mess, so there's no finished book location. Question 6 is, how do you pick your next book after you've finished a book? So this depends for me. I really do enjoy TBRs. I know some people don't, they feel kind of boxed in. I enjoy TBRs, but I enjoy making TBRs that are too big for me to read. So I'm kind of a 5-book a month sort of person with my current life of homeschooling and 4 kids. I like picking more books than I could potentially read for that month. And that way I can kind of mood read, and that way I can pick up what I'm really drawn to, or the story that I'm like, I really, really want to read that one. But I have already kind of pre-selected some books, and that helps because I get a lot of my books from the library. So that also kind of dictates what I read next. Sometimes if I finally got in a book, then I know I only have 21 days, then I'll prioritize that over other ones. And then number 7 is, do you have any rituals for once you have finished a book? And I just thought this was a funny question. Rituals? No, not really. I feel like I'm pretty quick to pick up another book. I enjoy being in a book and like not reading a book. I'm like, oh, but wait, what am I going to read tonight? So I'm pretty quick to pick another one. I also, I guess, something else I do is I tend to make notes for myself because I like to do wrap-up videos. And sometimes if I finished a book near the beginning of the month and then I do a wrap-up video 3 or 4 weeks later, I'm a little bit forgetful. And so if I just kind of jot down big impressions or why I like certain characters or thoughts and opinions that have a little bit more depth than the basic plot line of the book, I will write down. That's kind of how I do it. So that is all the prompts 1 through 7, and then prompt 8 is to tag some people. So I want to tag Savannah over at Savvy Reads. I want to tag Laura over at Laura Pora. I want to tag Victoria at Victoria James Book Reviews, and then Melissa at Fully Booked. So I will put all of their channel information below, so please check them out as well. A number of them just started their channels, or they've been doing it for a while, and I really enjoy their content. And thank you for sticking around for this video, and it's fun, and I hope it's uplifting in kind of a uncertain time. Please consider subscribing, liking, all of those things. I really do appreciate it. It is fun to build this channel. I will talk to you in the next video. All right, take care.